Today's topic is graftwood, and our mission is to find those shoots of different mango trees that are suitable for grafting. This immediate, one-day shopping for graftwood is how I used to do it all the time. I would go and search trees where the fruit had already come off and they hadn't quite sent out new leaves. As you might be able to tell, there's a lot of new leaves on this particular section of the tree. That's not good for graftwood shopping. So we'll have to go to another area of the tree to see what we can find. So here's another section of the cogswall tree. As you can tell, new leaves up here. We don't even need to look in this area for suitable graftwood. But we're seeing older leaves here, so let's look more closely. So we've looked around this tree a lot to try to find particular graftwood that can be used today. And here we found it. This is where the panicle used to attach that held fruit or just flowers. That's gone now. And this particular end of the branch is trying to grow vegetatively. And here we have 3 buds that you probably can see right here, and then as we look around, there's another one that is swollen here on the side, and another one here that is really ready to go. So this is a great piece of graftwood that we can use today for grafting. So what we'll do is just cut this off, and it's okay to leave a long stem like this. It actually has a lot of food stored into it so as long as you wrap the Scion very well with buddy tape, you won't lose the moisture, and you'll just gain from the food storage in this particular piece of the tree. So you just take these leaves off close to the buds, but you don't really need to go into the buds. Just makes wrapping with the buddy tape easier. So just snipping this off. This is the way that I found and prepared graftwood until just a few years ago. It's, timing is important. When you get to a tree that has already been through its fruiting cycle, a lot of the tree will be sending out new growth, which is not at the appropriate stage. But if you look underneath or on the north side of the tree, often you can find pieces like this that are great for grafting right now. So I still use the traditional way of selecting scions from a tree if I need to graft the same day. If you're going to a tree and looking for appropriate scions, it can take a while to find ones that are at the right stage of growth. And sometimes, some points during the season, I'm really not happy with what I find anywhere on the tree. But if you prepare scions, you never have to worry about the timing of the tree or what part of the tree might have appropriate graftwood. You can go to practically any part of the tree and prepare scions that you can use in a week or two. What you want to do about a week before you're actually going to do the grafting is find a piece that is not too young. I mean, you don't want it so it breaks too easily, bends too easily. This has got some flex in it. It's turned green. It's not like the young reddish shoots. And so you come through and cut the leaves off of the stems. Now, it's important. I have made this mistake more than once, where I have cut a leaf off of its stem and come back a week, 2 weeks later, and it's still on there. This stem would still be on because there is just a little bit of leaf left on here. Sometimes even less than this amount of leaf is enough to keep this stem attached. So we don't want that. Cut it below the leaf like this. So then just cut all of the leaves off to as far down as you want to cut the Scion off. So this is all set. You can just leave it alone for a week or two and come back and it will be ready to go. So here's the Scion that I just cut. And I want to point out that the top bud here is the biggest. And then the next one down is almost as big. This one's a little bit smaller, number 3 bud. Number 4 bud's even smaller. And about the same size as the 5th one. So this is a very active piece of wood here. There's lots of sites that can leaf out once we graft it onto another tree. And the most likely candidates for leafing out will be the top ones. If for some reason something happens to those, like if they are too enthusiastic for the particular situation, sometimes if they're too big, they can sprout out and then die. But this whole Scion won't die. We have the reserve. So anyway, what we'll do now is wrap this with buddy tape. Okay, so we have the cogshaw that we got earlier and cut the leaves off. That's at the stage where it was forming buds naturally, or on its own, I should say. They're all natural, but this is on its own. It was at end of season and getting ready for its growth flush. So we found this on the tree, and we have to be fairly careful with wrapping this because the little leaf stems here can break through the buddy tape pretty easily. But we stretch first and then wrap it around. So that's what the cogshaw Scion looks like. And now, with one of the differences between the cogshaw and the pineapple pleasure is that we don't have bumps really where the leaves were. This is where they naturally fell off. So instead of having these little protrusions here, these things sticking out, it's a much smoother piece of wood. The only things that are sticking out are the new buds. So we'll just wrap this one the same way. Careful going around the buds because some of those could poke out a little prematurely. But so that's the difference between using a Scion that you have prepared in advance and getting one the same day. So both should work, but this one can be done almost any time. You can take a nice young shoot and let it form, take the leaves off, and that's what will happen after a week or two. Or you can search the tree and find something after the tree is fruited that has buds that are very active and get it that way. This is a much more versatile method. You can use it anytime and on any variety. So here's a piece of graftwood that I started preparing about a week ago. And you see all of the leaves were cut off of their stems. You can notice that these little stem ends are no longer green. They're like a yellow color. And at this stage, they will just fall right off. Just, another day or two and they would fall off on their own. So you can start using this particular Scion today, or you can wait a few days and it will be ready to use still. Those buds will just be a little bit larger. But this is a very active piece of wood and a very high success rate when it's at this stage or a few days later. So here's a special situation. I want to graft this tree, which is sweet tart, and there's lots of new growth that's too young for me to use. So what do? So this is how I handle the situation. Instead of waiting for the new growth to get to the stage I need, you simply cut it off as low as you can go, and then prepare the growth that's just underneath it for grafting. So same situation here. This is all too young, too new. So cut off all the red stem and then cut the leaves off, just like we did on the others. Might as well do this one too while we're here. It'll give me 3 good pieces of graftwood to use. Have to wait a week or so, come back and find this. So that makes great graftwood too. You just have to cut off the young wood or young growth before doing the leaves, cutting the leaves off.